Are you gonna say, Tamika, we do our
We
three?
gotta, I'm ready for my three welcomes.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone? The numbers, people are coming in. People are coming in, coming in, coming in. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good
I can't
afternoon.
say good afternoon three times. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. That sounds pretty weird, but the three welcomes.
I like the three welcomes. That always works for us.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I follow this woman on Instagram and she's really, really, really heavy Southern accent. And she's always like, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm like, good gosh. Hey, Josh from Ghana. Carol, good to see you.
Everybody.
Welcome back to our Wealth on Wednesday webinar series.
Yes, indeed. Welcome, everyone. Welcome officially to everyone who's still coming in the building. We welcome you if this is your first time with us. We've been having these Wealth on Wednesday webinars every single Wednesday from the start of the pandemic until now. And so we welcome you to this session. To those of you who have been hanging out with us and rocking with us all this time, we welcome you back and we're happy to see you. We have, once again, some more great content for you today. We are building in the Black with a dfree Realtor panel. We're talking about deposits and dividends, but especially deeds. And we have with us two special guests, which you will meet shortly. June is still Home Ownership Month, even though this is the last Wednesday in June. And the purpose of this webinar is to explore the industry and things that we can help you with and to help participants prepare for home ownership. We hope to educate you, motivate you, just to move from, the good deeds to the good deeds of deposits, dividends, and especially deeds. And so before we get started officially, we do have a couple of housekeeping tips we just want to share with you. The first one is that the chat feature is open for engagement and chat. And so we encourage you to chat with one another as well as us within the chat feature. We have a team that's in the background. Even though they're in the background, they're still very much a part of the team and they will be engaging with you. There's also a Q&A button right down there. And that Q&A is specifically for our questions for our hosts and for our panelists, which we'll try to gather toward the end, but there may be some woven throughout. So ask when it comes on your heart. This webinar is also going to be recorded and it'll be shared with all the attendees. So if you know someone who wasn't able to make it, let them know that the recording is coming their way. We want to remind you that at the close of this webinar, there's going to be a very short survey. We really need you to fill out that survey. We value your input. We value your feedback. And that is the best way for us to be able to serve you. So please make sure you give us your feedback in the survey. It comes right at the close, so don't miss it. At this time, I'd like to introduce to some and present to others none other than our Executive Director, Tamika N. Stenbridge, Esquire, as well as our Deputy Director, Janiyah Lake.
Hello, hello, hello. Now I got my three in. Thank you, Shonda. Hey, Janiyah, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing well. I'm glad it's hump day. So we can start rolling on down to the end of the week. So good. And it's good Wednesday morning. How are you?
We're good. We're crossing a threshold. It is literally about to be July, the middle of the week, the middle of the year. I am having all kinds of interesting anxieties. We got some new folks on the line. I dropped in the chat to see if we had any newcomers. Hasna A, great to see you. She said it's been a whole 15 months that you missed. Don't worry, we're going to be sharing all the previous webinars. You'll have tons of content to catch up on. And the good news is, I don't think our webinars are going anywhere right now. So we will continue to be here every Wednesday. Elaine is also here from Portland. Hi, Elaine. How are you? This
Hey,
is going to
Elaine.
be a great session. So last week, well, no, the week before last, we had a panel of kind of real estate experts and mortgage lenders that we talked to, and it was two males. Great conversation, really great insight. Today, we're on the realtor side, and then we also have a broker, and we have two women guests today. So this is going to be excellent, 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 excellent. Any quick announcements before we dive right in? Because there's our guests have tons of content to offer. So I want to make sure that we honor their
No, I think we
expertise.
can, yeah, I think we can get, hey, Frank
Hey,
Thomas.
Frank. I haven't seen him in a long time. Reverend Frank Thomas. We're going to put you to work soon. We're ready.
Right. Colorado. Hey everybody. This is exciting. No, yes, I think the webinars are still going to continue. So I think when Shonda close out, I mean, I know they're going to continue. That's me and you. um, but Shonda's going to close out and let everybody know kind of what's coming for July. So I won't steal any thunder at all because I know she's very excited about our folks in July. But no, I think we can jump right in as we close out homeownership month. I know we get a ton of questions, not only from people, a lot of our regular folks are or regular ones that attend with us are homeowners. So we get a lot of investment questions. We get a lot of like opportunities about the market. Is it a good time, bad time? So I'm excited for today and our guests that we have so we can just dive right in.
So I think we're actually going to start with our first guest, Mayarani Smith. Maya, are you ready to join us? She is a real estate broker. And I won't steal any thunder because I want you to be able to, one, show your beautiful face, but two, also to talk about all of what you do, your background. Um, and let's dive right in. Maya, will you join us?
Yes. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. I can't get the video on.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Okay, it's here.
There we go.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Good
I
afternoon.
am actually a mortgage broker. And
Oh,
what
sorry.
that means is that I'm a broker, even though we're a bank. I don't fund or close anything in our name, but I broker to other banks. I've been in the banking business for 20 years. I was actually in investment banking prior to 9/11. I changed careers. So I don't want to date myself, but I was in investment banking about 20 years prior to that.
Wow.
So I've been out here in the banking business a long time. So the reason why I chose to be a broker is because the typical bank that I don't want to name names, but for namesake, argument's sake, Wells Fargo, Chase, they have programs that other lenders do not have. So as a broker, I'm able to find the right lender for my client. So it took me a number of years to actually find a lender that can do hard money, commercial, and residential loans nationally.
Wow. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Wow. So you're in all the money. You're in all the money. I love that. I love that. And so what's the difference? So if I would just break it down to me. So if I walk into my bank tomorrow and say I want to buy a home, they're
Mhm.
going to offer me whatever programs. But if I go to you, what does that process look like a little bit?
Well, once I have a full package, I'm old school. I want to see all your financials. I want to see everything up front. People always say, "Oh, I make $50,000." Excuse me, 50,000 a year. But when you actually see their W-2s, they might have deductions. Their actual income might be 40,000
Mhm.
because they have unreimbursed expenses. So for me, I want to see everything, your tax returns, your W-2s. I want your whole package. Then I find the right lender for you. If you're a first time home buyer, we have grants. I mean, each county, each state, depending on where you live, there should be some type of grant. If that doesn't work, I also have another lender that will give you the full 3.5% as a down payment.
Wow.
That's
That's
excellent.
huge.
Maya's one of the, a lot of times I'm always sharing, find someone that's an expert, find someone that you feel comfortable with, find someone that's familiar with all the products and services. And then you have Miss Maya who has all of that. These are kind of great examples of someone that becomes your partner, right? Somebody that becomes who you trust, that they're working alongside of you to help you find the best product or service. Full package is great because she's probably going to really dive in and tell you what you exactly want to be looking for or qualify for or the best product or service for you. So I love that because I feel like this is a full circle. I'm always talking about find the person that has all the info, that's very experienced, that knows all of the products and services and the programs that are in your area. And then they really become your partner as you formulate kind of your ideas about home ownership.
Right.
And I just want to add to it, because of COVID, a lot of the lenders, pulled back on some of their products. And I'll give an example. When COVID first hit last March, I was working on what we call a 203K. It's a rehab loan for FHA products. And midstream, the bank decided we're no longer doing 203Ks. So
Mhm.
normally they will actually close out that deal. They just stop midstream. So as a broker, I was able to get another bank that same day within a couple of hours, and I closed the loan in a couple of weeks.
Excellent.
That's the difference between being a broker and being with one bank, one lender. Because actually, if she had gone to that bank directly, she would have lost the deal.
Mhm.
Wow. So how do people find brokers? Like, is it something like that, the realtor connects you with them? Do we just have to know? Like, you seem to have the keys to the financial city when it comes to buying properties, but like, how do people find a broker?
It's not easy. Usually, a realtor would refer you because, like I said, even for myself, it took a long time to find the right broker. You may find a broker, but you got to find the right one that has the products that service our communities. Because a lot of these banks, they weren't lending to us. So
Mhm.
that was another issue that I don't really want to get into, but it's reality.
Mhm. Absolutely. Now, let me ask one of the questions I get asked all the time is it more expensive to go to a broker? If we're familiar with the mortgage crisis of 2009, so we know brokers were rampant back then. Everybody had brokers, everybody could be a broker, you just kind of be out there lending. And so people always ask or get nervous or hesitant about brokers again because of 2009. What are some things that you share about either choosing a broker as well as the fee structure? A lot of times people ask, is it more expensive to go to a broker?
No, it's actually cheaper to go to a broker because you actually don't get the broker fee. Even though I may use another bank, it does not affect the buyer. And we have rates that are lower than the traditional banks because it's on the wholesale side.
Mhm.
So it's a lot better to choose a broker. Most people are just not informed or educated to know the difference. They just think they can go to any bank and
Right,
get what they want.
right.
Yeah. So it's almost like you doing the shopping around for us with a loan. Are there
Yes.
any differences from a credit standpoint? Because I know we get a lot of people that are super conscious of, I don't want to have a bunch of pulls on my credit. And if you're shopping loans to different banks, is there a difference in how you're like running credit or what that
I
process
only
is
pull
like?
it one time.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Now, do
It's not like I know what you're talking about. All right, that is a good question because back in the day, a lot of them did pull it numerous times,
Mhm.
and we don't do that.
good. Excellent. 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 So can you talk a little, well, we talked a little bit about the fee structure and how people find you. Is there like, if you had to give 3 tips on like, what are the 3 things that you need to know in terms of looking for a broker or working with a broker? What are the 3 biggest tips you would give to someone?
Well, a tip for looking for a broker is to see how many people they're connected to because you want to know that that person has been out there a long time. I've been in the industry. People do know my name, such as yourselves. You've heard about me through other people. It's resources. Most of the connections that I get are word of mouth. Word of mouth advertising is the best, and it comes from referrals of other clients.
Mhm.
I stay with with the client before, during, and after because my motto is I don't just get you in a home, I make sure that you stay in your home. So if later on in your life something happens, you can always come back to me. And I always tell my clients, when you find yourself in trouble, do call me.
Mhm.
I'm
That's
here.
that leads right into that there's a note here that says providing mortgages for you is a ministry. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. In 2003, I joined the financial ministry of the Greater Allen Cathedral, my church, with Pastor Flake. And we did home buying workshops in the sanctuary. So as I was, I would say, counseling people, because that's what you're doing. You're
Mhm.
teaching people to learn about their credit, to know where they stand right now. People told me your business is your ministry because you're helping people, you're coaching them, you're building them, helping them get and build generational wealth.
Absolutely.
That's super, super important. And you don't find a lot of people in, especially in the banking industry, that are willing to make a claim like that. It is very much business oriented. It's all about the numbers. And, you do get some, we've talked to other, lenders in the past. We're like, oh, I'll tell you what you need to do. But there's not, if you can definitely feel the heart of how you approach things. What are what would you say to someone that feels like they might be financially challenged, or they're a first-time home buyer, or they're afraid of the process? What are some of the things you would tell people that are nervous about entering the home buying process?
I'm going to give 3 tips. Don't be afraid to move forward is one. Know your credit score and know your rating, your credit rating. You can go to annualcreditreport.com and look at it. A lot of people are afraid of what they don't understand. And they've been taught that, oh, you can't do this. It's above you. Nothing is above you. You might not be ready now. You might be credit challenged. I also do credit repair. So I've never turned anybody away. I will work with that person and counsel them. It may take them 5, 6 months. Everybody's not ready right now. But I tell people, start right now. Get a game plan. You can get into a home. It may just take you longer than others.
Mhm.
Don't give up your dream. Don't give up your hope.
Excellent.
Got it.
I'm putting those in there in the comments too. Annual credit report. That's one thing we go through in dfree.
I was just on there the other day pulling somebody's credit file. So
Yep. So annual credit report. If you do not have if you have not looked at your credit report in the last, at least 6 months, because sometimes there's ways that you can look at them and then pull your annual credit report free. It gives you all 3 credit bureaus. We do talk about knowing where you are. That is so true, Maya. One of the things that we know that we tend to do is if we're behind, we may tend to shy away and not face our bills. If we think our credit's bad, we may tend to not look at it and not deal with some of the things on there. Sometimes I know just even when I used to work in the industry, people would just come in like, oh, my credit's just so bad. 10 years ago, I had this, I had to file bankruptcy, and they would just opt themselves out. They would come in almost so fearful of, I don't even know where I'm at. They haven't even been looking at their credit report. We would always give them the option. If you want to apply, you can apply, see your credit report. They would choose to apply and be so shocked that it was so much better than what they thought. Time had passed, things that they could fix were on there. It just was so, they would leave feeling so much lighter because they come in just thinking their credit report is like 0, like I'm just gonna come in, my score is probably 2, and we would always see the way forward, and they would be so empowered, like, oh, really? That's all I need to do? I just need to fix those things, or what options they had for things to improve their credit aren't hard. Building your credit back up, you just have to be disciplined, but they're not anything that's like, I'm never going to be able to get there. So I think knowing where you are, facing that, we talk about that in dfree, but then there's always a strategy forward. I just say there's not really any financial situations I've seen people in that they can't get out of, that it's just some discipline to make some changes, and then they can have positive, credit, positive bill paying, positive management of money, all of that.
Yeah, there's a way around it, but it does take patience. It takes time. Sometimes, like we always say, it didn't take you 12 weeks to get in debt. It's not going to take you 12 weeks to get out of it, but you can definitely make some significant improvements. One specific question I had, do you work nationally, or is it just a specific area that you deal with? And do you service all types of loans? Like we got a question in the chat about VA loans,
Yes.
Virginia and FHA and all of that.
Yes. I am a national lender and I deal with all types of loans, even investor loans. If people understand what hard money loans are.
Mhm.
Okay, hard money, for those that are on here that don't understand, those are for investors. They're short-term loans. Basically, for those that are fixing and flipping a property, you close under an LLC. One thing I want to explain to people, as an investor, you can buy a residential one-family property, but if you buy it under an LLC, that is a commercial loan. It's a residential property, but it's a commercial loan because you're buying it under a limited liability corporation.
Good points. Good points. Any real estate investors on the line? I'm always interested. I'm always excited by the variance in our community. We have first time buyers, we have long time, homeowners, and I know we have a poll, so we'll check into that. But if you are real estate investors, today would be a good time to ask any questions that you have. Are there any resources or programs you would suggest that our community look into if they're getting ready to purchase a home, if they're in a home? What about even like refinancing? Does that come up in your practice? We get a lot of questions about people thinking about refinancing.
Well, I can even speak to refinancing. People don't even understand a refinance could be a 203K loan. A 203K loan is a FHA product for rehabbing. You can do that as a refinance to fix your house. So a lot of people just think, oh, FHA 203K is only when you purchase the house. No, it's also under refinancing as well.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
you may have an older home, it's outdated, you want to fix it, you don't like your basement, you don't like your kitchen, anything that you need to do.
There's money out there. There's abundance around if you
Free
have the
money.
right strategy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Maya, thank you so much for the insight that you provided. I think you've answered the main questions that we have in the chat so far. But we're going to switch our Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on.
There's a couple questions in
Yeah,
there.
these are good questions. I just noticed them.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So anything that we talk a lot about student loans and how student loans are affecting home ownership. Any updates or anything that you have?
They haven't brought it out yet. We're
Not
waiting
yet?
on the government. There's nothing we could do in that area.
Excellent. Somebody also asked, what about REO properties or, foreclosures?
I don't have access to giving that. That's something Laura or any other real estate agent would find, but I help fund you and get the financing to purchase those properties. Now with a REO or foreclosure, that's where you would use a rehab loan. And just so you guys know the difference, there's a FHA 203K, that's for owner occupied, but there's also a home style conventional. It could be owner occupied or conventional. Okay, for an investor.
Excellent. Do you want to do the co-op? There's somebody said they own a co-op. Can you sell and still qualify first-time home owners programs? I'm looking to sell my New York City property and move to Maryland.
Okay, you're a first-time home buyer after not owning for 3 years. Then you get all the benefits of being a first-time home buyer, getting all the grants, but you have not owned in 3 years.
Got it. Got it. Got it. We will be sharing the contact information shortly. I know this is a wealth of information. Maya, you are like a one-woman band in this real estate situation. I love that. All right. I want to pull up the poll because we got investor questions, we got first-time home buyer questions. So I want to see what our audience looks like. If you could take a second and just let us know, what's your current situation? I'm a homeowner. I'm interested in purchasing my first home. I'm interested in refinancing my home. I'm interested in purchasing a second home or an investment property, or I have a desire to purchase a home, but I'm concerned about my circumstances. And I'll answer Janae's question while we're doing that. So Janae, Maya just said that in order to requalify for first-time home buyer benefits, you have to not have owned a home in 3 years. So let's say you bought a home and then you sold it, or you bought a home and then lost it or something happened. You have to wait 3 years before you requalify for first-time benefits. Is that correct, Maya?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 3 years out.
Excellent. And while we're waiting, do you want to talk a little bit about I didn't even think about the credit repair aspect of it, but we do get a lot of questions about the credit repair business. Is the contact information we have at the end, would that include all of your services, or is there a special place that people need to get to?
No, they can call me directly. I really would want people to call me at my 201 number. I am working from home. I'm not in the office. So unfortunately, I'm here 7 days a week.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Oh, we have a good spread. So we have 30% homeowners, 13% interested in purchasing their first home, 8% refinance, 35% looking at investment or second home, and 15% are concerned. Well, listen, we're going to get all your questions answered. I love how engaged you all are. But while we're on, I want to flip the conversation a little bit and let's get to talking about the actual purchasing side. So Janaya, I know Laura is like your real estate bestie, and I'm excited to have her on today. Laura, would you join us? Hey there. I think you're muted.
Okay, try this again. How's everyone?
We
Hey,
are well. We are well. So we know who you
Great.
are. We love Laura. Tell us who Laura Washington is. Tell us who you are, what you do, where you work. And then we'll get into some questions.
Okay, I am a real estate broker and I have been in the business for 21 years, and today is my 21st anniversary. So excited. It's been a long road in real estate, the highs and the lows and everything. But I consider this my ministry here. So I love what I do, but I assist you in the home buying process. Um, from beginning to end, from helping you get qualified to helping you find a house to going to that closing table with you and giving you the keys at the end. So, and making sure that you are prepared mentally, physically, etc., for the home buying process. So, a lot of people just think that all we do as real estate agents is just turn a key.
Mhm.
They don't understand what we do behind the scene to make sure that that deal stays together and make sure that you make it to the closing table. So it's a lot involved in the process. So I just try to make sure that I keep my clients informed every step of the way. And I tell them all the time, you can ask the same question 50 times, I will answer it 50 times because I want to make sure that you understand the process. So, but yes, this is my 21st anniversary today.
happy anniversary.
Thank you.
I know a lot of times we've had a few different home ownership discussions this month. And one of the questions that always came up in some of the different ones where we were talking about lending or just the real estate process, people always say, do you have to have a real estate agent or a realtor? Do you have to have that? And what do you say when people ask that? Because they do have that idea that all you're doing is letting me in the house. If I could just find an owner by myself. So what do you recommend when people are trying to decide, or do I have to have a
That
realtor?
is one of the first things I tell anyone you need to do is hire you a professional. Don't go, and Google is not your professional. So make sure that you get a licensed professional to assist you through that home buying process, because they can tell you things that you need to know, things that you should do, things you should not do, and continue to remind you of that. So you wouldn't go to a trial without an attorney. So why go to the real estate table without a professional to assist you?
Absolutely.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So I have
And
to
for
shout
those of
Shonda.
you-
No, go ahead, Janaya.
I was going to say, for those of you that have ever bought a house, the amount of paperwork alone, the amount of legalese and paperwork and negotiation that happens, you don't realize how much negotiation truly happens, not just on the price, but on any repairs that you want, on any things that you want them to include, including covering closing costs, all of those things that you would like to ask for or negotiate. People don't really realize how much negotiation and how much coordination. The other thing your realtor does is work with your lender. And behind the scenes, I could just tell you, being behind the scenes, there's so much that happens between appraisers and title companies. And if you live in a state where a lawyer is involved, and kind of all of the additional people outside of your lender and realtor, those, they coordinate all of those people for you. So
Yeah.
you need your inspection in time, you need your appraisal in time, you need all of these things in time. And so between your lender and your realtor, they are keeping all of the rest of these things together. And so not knowing that process, even, it truly is more than just, I found this on Zillow, I want to go try to take a look at it. They do so much behind the scenes on your behalf, and they're the ones advocating for you as well.
And
So yeah,
I was gonna say, and they're on your side. You know, a
they're on
lot of times people think that, oh, well, the lawyer don't want me to have it, the lender doesn't want me to have it. No, everybody wants you to get to the closing table,
Exactly.
but you got to do your part. And it's almost better if you don't know. So like I had a real estate agent when I bought my home, but I'm also, my background is law. So I was comfortable reading all the documents. I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was bad. But I have a binder full of paper from start to finish of all the things you have to read. And I was so thankful for my real estate agent because she read through the documents. She kept the schedule together. Like we had to close really quickly. And we were literally on a 30-day timetable, and every day there was something that had to happen, and she got it all done.
It is. I mean, that's our job because we keep the process together. We
Right.
make sure that everyone is, at least I make sure that everyone is doing their job. The title is doing their job. As I tell my clients, as soon as that contract is executed, the wheels are turning. Everybody from the lender to title, everyone is involved, that's involved in that process is working behind the scene. And a lot of clients don't realize that. They just think, okay, I'm gonna sign today and then tomorrow I decide I want to back out of that contract. Well, you've caused a whole lot of trauma there as soon as you stop a contract, because soon as that contract is turned in, the wheels are turning and people are working there. Everybody's working on your behalf. But as your real estate agent, we're kind of connected with all parties involved, making sure that everyone's doing their job, making sure that no one's dropped the bomb, or if something comes up, a lot of times things that come up where I'm the interference and my client don't know anything about it. If I can make sure that whatever that issue can go away without involving the client, and they're already full of anxiety in the home buying process, so there's no need to add any additional stress there. If it's something that you can help, ease the way and allow it to go away or get it fixed or whatever without getting the client involved in it. So getting that real estate professional involved with you from day one is crucial and very, very important, because one, we also know the market and we can guide you and tell you, as I tell my clients there, well, I want to live here in the market that we are in right now, which is a seller's market. You can't say that I want to live here in this particular neighborhood, whatever, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to be able to afford that neighborhood or something. So as I tell them when they come in, you're 9 times out of 10, I need to know what your buying power is, because once I know your buying power, I can point you directly to where you can go for the money that you can afford. When you're in a buyer's market, it's different. You can pretty much point and say, I want to go wherever I want and live wherever I want. But when you're in a seller's market, it's a totally different ballgame. So, I explain that to my clients up front so that they can understand, and they're not looking and thinking that, oh, I'm going to be here, when 9 times out of 10 you're going to be here. Because I tell them, you're going to sacrifice 1 or 2 things, and in this market, it's both, and that's price and location.
Mm.
Excellent. I was going to say, I want to get into the market in just a second. I'm going to just one last plug for a realtor. They are your therapist as well. So they will be who you cry when you don't get the deal, or, they will be the ones to help you level set your expectations too. I remember filling out my little worksheet on the things I had to have.
Oh, yeah.
That were negotiable. And she got me right together on my whole had to have list in my price range. So they help you kind of level set your expectation. But let's talk about the market a little bit. What does a seller's market mean? I mean, I know we kind of know when we hear it, buyer's market, seller's market. What does that kind of really mean?
Basically, high demand, low supply. And that's where we are right now. I know right now here, especially in the DFW area, we're less than a month and a half of inventory available, which is not very much. So that means that when you're out there purchasing, be prepared for a war that you're going to go into to purchase a home. Be prepared to put in multiple offers on multiple homes and everything. And I always explain and have a consultation with my clients to set the right expectations with them, especially if they're falling below a certain price range, because the average price here in the Dallas market a year or so ago was $225. It's $325 now. Wow. So pretty much anything under 300 is like a needle in a haystack in finding a house. So you have to set those expectations up front with the client so that they can understand the market. And I tell them you have to have patience in this market right now. Yeah, we may have to put 20 offers in on 20 properties before you get one, but there's a house out there for everyone if you're willing to follow the process and be patient with the process.
Now, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but this is a great question. When do you think the market will shift back to a buyer's market?
I am not sure. They are not sure when it's going to shift back. This is, I think, our 5th, 6th year into a seller's market. And each year it's going even more and more deep and lower in more and more demand and lower in supplies. So it's hard to say when that market is going to change. Some areas of the country are slowly changing to buyer's market, but for the most areas, we are still in a seller's market. And I don't see it changing, at least not in the next year or so.
So what do you say to people who are discouraged by it being a seller's market? Do you still encourage them to look? Do you encourage them to wait? What do you
Of
think?
course, because it's not a bad thing that we're in a seller's market, because the good thing about it is the interest rates are still low. So as long as those interest rates are still low, people are still buying, even with the pandemic out there. Last year, through the pandemic, I mean, it was a little rough in the beginning because as a real estate professional, they didn't know whether we were essential or non-essential, if we could work or not work. And you got clients calling, hey, I want to buy a house, I'm approved, etc. So, you know, it was a little rough in the beginning, but last year was probably one of my best years in real estate, if not the best year in real estate. So people are buying. I came into this year, into 2021, with clients that were already under contract to purchase homes for this year because they were all new build. So people are still buying. As long as those interest rates are down, they are still interested in buying. And if you're on the fence about whether or not it's a good time to buy, go on the right side of that fence and look into the home buying process.
Got it. So it's a good time to buy. Is it a good time to refinance?
It's definitely a good time to refinance.
Okay.
Right now, because the homes are appreciating, and on the average of 18% or more a year. So now is definitely a good time to buy. I'm sorry, to refinance.
Excellent.
Is it a good time for second property and investment properties too?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, because I mean, a way to build that wealth is through either they're using the equity that's already currently in your home that you can use to purchase an investment property. So yes, it's definitely a good time.
These are good questions. I'm laughing at you, Kiasha, but I also feel your pain. She said she needs to move to Dallas. She's in Brooklyn, New York, and the lowest is 1.4 million. Wow. This is a great question. When should you see what your buying power is? Like what your loan
As soon as possible. I tell when I get clients, because I've been in business so long, probably 90% of my business is referral business. So the first thing that I tell clients is, you know, in order to know your buying power, in order for me to know where to start with you, I need to know what your buying power is. So as soon as you think you want to purchase a home, even if it's a year from now, and right now, even if you're a year out, now is a good time to start because it's taking that long. As I said earlier, I had 8 clients that locked into contracts in the third quarter of last year, and because of the time frame, all of these are new builds. Because of the time frame it's taken to build a home, so now their lease is coming up, the houses are ready, so now it's the time to do it. So I mean, if you got at least a year from now, now's the time to start doing it. Just look at it. Don't be afraid to know what your credit score is, because if it's not where you want it to be, you can always work. And if you're working with great lenders, and all my lender partners, they will, at least if my clients are not ready, they will tell them what they need to do to get them ready. And I tell anyone, if you're going to speak to a lender, even if you don't speak to one that I recommend, make sure that that lender can at least give you advice on where to go if you are not ready right now.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. As we kind of talk about preparation, you know, and you're talking about if they're ready. So what if they're just considering it, but thinking they still might be another 6 months? Should they fully apply now? Or should they, you know, but knowing they might not necessarily be ready today?
And the time frame that is taken because of the bidding wars that are out there, even, I mean, we are having bidding wars now with new construction. So you used to can just walk into a lender in a new construction and purchase a home. We're having bidding wars with the lenders. I mean, sorry, the new bills right now. So if you're 6 months out now is the time to start. If you're a year out for your lease, now's the time to start. Because even with traditional homes, depending on where you are in the price range, it may take you a little bit longer to find that house.
Got it. Question, and this is, I think we'll probably bring Maya back in a second because we're getting a lot of good questions online. So Maya, if you want to come back online, I hope I didn't just lose my question. Because it is taking longer to find properties, I know, like, let's just say maybe I'm pre-qualified or I'm ready to buy, I have my approval. Are banks extending the time period that your pre-approvals are good for because it's taking longer to find properties?
Yes,
Because I think there's a time frame that you got to work with.
the typical approval is usually good for about 90 to 120 days. And if we haven't found a house at that point, then I just go back to the lender and say, hey, we need to get this up. I need an updated approval letter. That's all.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
So it's not like you have to restart the process. I had a friend who was
No, they may have, depending on how old the documents that they have, the lender may ask for some updated documents or some more current documents. But other than that, it's not a tedious process.
Got it.
Maybe just updated pay stubs, bank statements, make sure they didn't spend their money.
Exactly.
I was gonna say tip two, this, pay attention to what you're doing if you're in this process, even if it is taking you 6 months. So that is not the time to be purchasing stuff on your credit cards or changing your financial picture too much unless it's improving it. And so
And I really would like to say something. Do not change your work status. People have changed from a W-2 to a 1099. Oh, I started my business. You just killed your deal. If
Or
you are
how about
self-employed and you went from an employee to self-employment, we need 2 years out of self-employment information. So you can't apply for a house. You will
or how
have
about just quit your job, period, in the
Okay.
process and not tell us because they think because they verified it in the beginning, they got to go back and re-verify it.
That's right.
So now y'all are digging in people's business because the internet is telling everybody to quit their job and start a business and become an investor and all of those things. What do you say to people? So, I mean, I guess if you lost your job, that's a totally different circumstance. It's not, within your control. What do you say for people that are self-employed? Is there anything they need to do differently in order to be able to prepare for the home buying process? Let's say if you've been an entrepreneur for, a few years.
Well, I look at their tax returns and I let them know sometimes they have to adjust what they're writing off because $25,000, you cannot buy a house. You may have made 200,000 and wrote off to 25,000. What are you buying? So there are ways sometimes to bring back some income with depreciation. That's a whole nother calculation. But I work with the self-employed people to tell them what they need to do to bring their income to a level where they can actually afford a home.
Right. We have a good question in the chat too. How do you think the ending of the mortgage and renters moratoriums will affect the home buying market? Right now they're set to end on July 31st, if not federally extended.
It's gonna open up a whole new market. There are gonna be more foreclosures and short sales. And actually, that's when it becomes a buyer's market. When the short sales happen and the foreclosures, that's going to open up a whole new realm for everybody.
So let me ask this because somebody did put this in the chat too. So access to short closers and real estate owned. Laura, they would do that through their real estate agent?
Yes, we do have access once it's actually gone through the foreclosure process because there's different stages to it. And once you actually get to the foreclosure process, the bank generally lists those properties with a real estate agent and it will be found in the MLS. So your agent will be able to check the MLS to see which properties are what they call REO owned properties.
Got it.
And then if you go to the courthouse, the Liz pendants, you can find that too, who lost their homes.
Got it.
Exactly.
So there's tons of sites out there. I'm an online shopper. And so I actually found my home on Zillow. I was scrolling in the middle of the night and I was like, oh, I might want to buy a house. Went from Amazon to Zillow. But anyway, I don't recommend that strategy, but I was ready to purchase at that point. But how do you feel about those online resources? And they seem to be adding more and more features that make it seem like you literally could just buy a house from your phone. Any advice? I know we talked about having a real estate agent. What happens? Let's say if I found a home online, how do I connect with a real estate agent in order to do the process the way you all described, but I'm using kind of online methods right now?
If you're a lot of them, even my clients, I set them up on an automatic system where they're receiving the properties from my system, because Zillow and all of them, all of the properties that they receive comes from our MLS system. The only problem is when a client come to me and say, oh, well, I found this because you didn't send it to me. 9 times out of 10, that property is probably already closed or already pending. The issue is all of these online systems, they're not sophisticated enough to keep up with the changes that our MLS systems make. So when it goes out into the online world, if we've made that change that it's pending or it's closed, it may still be showing active on the system over there. So you still need a real estate agent to guide you through that process. There's always a reason why. If it didn't come through from my system to you, there's a reason why it's still out there. And 9 times out of 10, it's not available for you to look at.
So don't fight trying to buck the system. Like, I found this on the internet.
Exactly.
And I was going to say, sometimes though you can, because I know my house, I also, somebody I think mentioned this too. I found mine online through, and it didn't come, I have the same system, but it had like just went up. So it wasn't that the system
Exactly.
wasn't send it to me. And we went and looked at it like that morning. So if you to that, if you have your real estate agent who's like your partner, I texted to her and I was like, did this just happen? And she's like, yes. And we went right then. So feel free, if you see something, that's your partner. You can send them things and they'll help you, whatever they see behind the scenes.
And that's what they will do. And again, another thing is 9 times out of 10, what you found, the criteria for that one are different than the criteria that you gave to me to put into the system. So if you gave me a 3-2 and the one that you found is a 3-1, then it's not going to come from me.
Got it.
And even before you go to a realtor, you come to the bank and get pre-approved.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they'll go to Laura and say, hey, I want this house, and they don't even qualify. It's way over their means. So you never want somebody to go to a realtor, and I don't want to be nasty about it, but it's a waste of time because they can't afford that property. So we set realistic expectations.
I don't work with anyone unless they've actually spoken to a lender.
Got it. Because they'll have you out looking at houses and can't buy nothing.
Just to look.
So there's a really good question in the chat, and I didn't even think about this. Can you buy a home if your income is Social Security or if you're on a fixed income?
Yes,
it depends on it.
Yes. Social Security, disability. Disability is income. You can prove that you're on permanent disability. Yes.
Excellent. Is there an age requirement to buying a home?
18.
No. The minimum 18, no maximum. My oldest client was 79.
Excellent.
Yeah, but 18 is it.
Oh, this is a really good one, Ray. I love this question. Is the Zestimate accurate on Zillow?
No. No.
Not even close, huh?
No, it's usually way below.
I was going to say, they also don't necessarily estimate the taxes. They don't estimate all of that. Those calculators, all do not use those as rule of thumb or Bible. That's why it's important for you to go to your lender, because all of those calculators and things are very broad. They're designed to give you an idea. They have not checked your income. They have not checked your W-2. It's just a basic kind of calculator function, and the estimate of the taxes and insurance and all of that. And so it does help for you to get a lender and a real estate professional to tell you the real on the property.
Excellent. That was a good question. How do you find a realtor in another state? So if you live in one state, but you're moving to another, or you're interested in moving to another or buying in another place?
I can answer that. I'm regional vice president of the National, Association of Real Estate Brokers. We have what we call realtors in every state. So they're realtors in any area, realtors. We're called realtors in an area that you might be looking in.
Excellent. Yes, that's what I'm getting ready to say. Most of my business is referral business, and I have contacts everywhere. So if you're in need of someone, you can call me. I can connect you with an agent in the area that you're looking.
Excellent.
What if you want to buy the home that you're in? How do you start that process? Do you
What
ask,
did you say?
like, if
I'm
you're
sorry.
let's say if you're renting a home and you want to buy it?
First, you want to speak with the landlord to see if they're willing to sell that house to them. And then at that point, then you want to get you a real estate agent to assist you, and then get a good lender that will pre-qualify you.
Got it. So ask the questions, LA. Don't be scared. Ask them. Okay, let's see.
Someone
Oh,
said, should you shop around for a pre-approval or should you only get a pre-approval one time?
Well, as a broker, you only get a pre-approval one time. I shop for the lender for you. So I take that away from the person having to go around trying to shop for a good lender. That's my job as a broker.
yep.
I was going to say to myth bust, and I think we kind of touched on this at the beginning. People assume if you go to Chase or Wells Fargo or anything that you get the same products, you get the exact same everything that's available, and you don't. You know, those banks will lend specific products, and they may only have a certain amount of products that they even actually participate in and lend in. So that's why you'll see people sometimes in community programs, you know, through community banks or credit unions. There's just so many different products. And so when you have someone who's able to take a look at all those different products for you or help you find the best one to fit you, that way you don't have to try to go to each lender and try to find one yourself too.
Yeah, don't be your own
Exactly.
broker. You don't want to do that.
Because a lot of lenders don't even do rehab loans. And one thing I want to tell people, when you're looking at a house, it might not be the perfect house that you wanted, but you could make it that house. That's what a rehab loan is for. Say you see a house for 150,000 and it needs $50,000 in repair. With a 203K, you have a $200,000 loan, and it's all one loan, one rehab, one loan, one product. Now you got the kitchen you like, the bedroom you like, bathroom, basement, might have been an unfinished basement. But my point is, you can make that house look the way you want it to look. And we have pictures before and after. You know, the contractor can show you exactly what it's going to look like afterwards.
And I,
So don't have blind eyes, because most of these homes have been on the market. They're older houses. They need repair. Don't let that blindside you from looking at that house.
and I tell clients all the time, just if this is not going to be the house that you're going to retire and live in for the rest of your life, then as long as the bones and the structure of the house is good, then let's get beyond the cosmetic stuff, because you can, as Maya said, you can do that makeover on that house and make it the way you want. Let's get into one, build some equity, and then 3 or 4 years, get the house that you really want.
Absolutely. So while we pull up your contact information, because we're going to close in on time in a second, I do want to ask this question because we have not gotten this a lot, but I see the commercials all the time. Your perspectives on things like Rocket Mortgage and online mortgage lenders.
I've dealt with them, but you definitely want to speak to a person, because a lot of times they give you a teaser rate, you know, the lowest interest rate you could possibly see, but you're paying for it in the fees. There are hidden fees that are bringing you to that rate that you would not know that you're being charged for. And I make sure that doesn't happen with my clients.
Got it. And this is the last question I'm going to ask. Working with a mortgage broker, is that the best way to avoid subprime lending issues?
Yes, definitely. We can't do subprime anymore. So that's that's off the table.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So as you guys can see, we have had some amazing expert advice from our two guests, Maya and Laura. Their contact information is up on the screen. And so if you want to go ahead and screenshot it, we'll keep cycling back through. But this has been a really, really powerful, powerful conversation. We've got some amazing questions in the chat
Oh,
tonight.
the questions are on fire.
One more. How much percentage of a down? Oh, see, it's going so fast. How much percentage of a down payment should someone set aside to get a home, or have you all worked with people who've used credit to buy a home? Good questions.
You cannot use credit to buy a home. Your first time home buyer could be anywhere from 3% to 3.5% down. And if you get a grant, you're not putting any of your own money down. And what I try to do for my first time home buyers is make sure that they get the free money that's out there that they are entitled to or qualified for.
Excellent. Is it possible to combine a VA and a 203K loan?
No, they're two separate entities.
Got it. Okay. Oh gosh, these questions were really good. Really good. What about programs like NACA?
I've worked with NACA. Now, NACA is a program you definitely have to have patience for because it's not a quick process, and it's a tedious process. But the benefit to it is the low interest rate that you're able to get with that loan and some other perks that comes with that. But if you're willing to have patience to go through that process, because I've had some NACA clients, then by all means, go through that process.
Got it. And Maya, do you do VA loans? Like the no money down VA loans?
The VA loans, yes.
Got it. So
I do any type of loan you could think of.
Just call Maya. That's what I'm telling people.
Yeah,
just call Maya. Call Maya, call Laura, call these two people. These are the only piece of advice I have for you.
Right.
Excellent. Right. Shonda is back, so that means we have some comments. I want to thank you ladies both for your insight and your time today. This was absolutely amazing. And thank you to our audience, because you guys asked amazing, amazing questions, and this will be very helpful for people that watch it later. But Shonda, we'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will be sharing again the contact information for our two fabulous guests. We thank you so much. Thank you for everybody who's so active in the chat. We will get to every single one of these questions because it's still going. So we could have actually been on a lot longer. But I just want to share some information coming up, starting with our $1 billion challenge. Let's take a look. Congratulations to us, all of us. That means you, and you. For $30,846,588 of debt paid off in the Black and Brown community. We are excited about this because even in an economic downturn and all these things going on, we are still paying off debt. And for this, we are grateful. So thank you to each of you. Absolutely. We just want to send some reminders as well. In honor of 4th of July, the other Independence Day, there will be no Monday Night Live next week. So we just wanted to make sure that you have a safe holiday, and we will see you on Monday, July 12th. So all of you who are frequent in our Monday Night Live, enjoy the night off, but make sure you're still doing some dfree living. We also want to remind you, in light of the holiday, engagement hour on July 1st, Saturday, July 1st, is canceled, as well as our Divine 9 online academy course. Oh my goodness. If you are not a part of that, that's something that you want to jump in on. It's not too late. You can get the rewatches. And so we're excited to make sure that you know that those are available to you. We want to see you sign up because there's a contest going on between the Deltas, the Zetas, the AKAs, the Sigma, the entire Divine 9. And so we want to make sure that you sign up and get those rewatches. In addition to that, I mentioned before, Monday Night Live is going to be postponed. Our next engagement hour will be meeting on Thursday, July 15th at 7 p.m. So if you are interested in starting a dfree ministry or group within your organization, within your church, within your family, it's family reunion time. We want to invite you to the engagement hour. That's where you can get all this information so you know how to launch, how to start, and how to activate. So we want to encourage you to come to the engagement hour. In addition to that, we have some exciting things coming down the pipe. First of all, our faith and finance course is starting at the end of July, and we want to make sure that all you clergy, all you ministry leaders, all those who are involved and want to know more about what God says about money, this is your place, your one-stop shopping, the faith and finance course. We want to make sure that you come out for that. dfree ambassadors, we see you.
It's 1 o'clock.
Excited about all that you're doing. We're getting ready to wrap up because we want to be dfree with our time. But I just have to tell you that next Wednesday is another exciting session for our Wealth on Wednesday webinars. We are going to feature our dfree family. You'll be meeting our family in Africa, our dfree global family. We are really excited about the tours that are coming up. We're going to share with you some information. We're going to introduce you to the team so that you know all of the things that we're doing and exciting work that we're doing in Africa. So South Africa, Ghana, we're going to have a lot of information, and we're going to feature our team, featuring specifically the person who leads that team, and that is Angela Dadson. And so please come on back and learn more about the exciting things that are going on there. Last but not least, we certainly want to thank our guest again, Mayarani Smith, and here's her contact information. Thank you so much for all that you lended to this conversation. And certainly we want to thank Lora L. Washington. We're grateful for you as well. We look forward to seeing you all again in another arena. And last but not least, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, please make sure that you fill out that survey at the end of this webinar. Thank you again.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of the day. We really appreciate you all. Enjoy the holiday. Take care.
Thank you.